Namaste everybody. In my previous video, I explained some of the paragraphs of the story in the Kingdom of Fools. So, first of all, let us recap the main points of this story once again, then we shall proceed to the next paragraph. So, you have seen in the story in the Kingdom of Fools that both the king and their minister were idiots. They changed day into night and night into day in their kingdom, and they also announced that everybody would walk at night and during the day they will sleep. So one day a guru and his disciple arrived in the city. The city was very beautiful, and when it became evening, both the guru and disciple bought eatable items because in the evening the shops were open, and they cooked and eaten. After that, the guru told to his disciple that this place is not suitable for us, so let us go from there. But the disciple was very greedy because he was purchasing everything in a single do. Uh, Everything was very cheap in the kingdom of fools. So the disciple decided to live in that kingdom. One day, what happened when the guru left the kingdom and the disciple started living alone? He was eating rice, wheat, bananas, and became uh, a fat like a street side sacred wool. So one night, what happened? Not one night, one bright day, a thief entered a merchant house. He uh, started stealing valuables and money and ornaments from the merchant's house. So during stealing, the wall fell on his body and he was killed. So the brother of that thief complained to the king that my lord, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade, the wall fell on him and he was killed. So he also told to the king for the compassion for his brother. Now the king told to the brother of the thief that the justice will be done, and the merchant was called to the court of the kingdom. After that, the king blamed the merchant, but merchant told to the king that this was not my fault, this is the fault of a bricklayer who made that wall very weak. After that, the king ordered to summon that bricklayer. The bricklayer was also called. He had his own story to tell. The bricklayer told that this was not my fault. This is the fault of a dancing girl who diverted my mind from anklets jingling. And when the dancing girl was called to the king's court, she had her own story to tell. She told to the king that this was not my fault, this is the fault of a goldsmith, and that goldsmith made me walked up and down dozen times, and due to that the mind of the bricklayer diverted. So this was not my fault, this is the fault of a goldsmith, because goldsmith ordered, this is the fault of goldsmith because he that goldsmith made me walked up and down many times. When the goldsmith was called in the court of kingdom, he told that this was not my fault. This is the fault of a rich merchant. So now let us see what happens next in this story. The dancing girl told to the king that this was not my fault, my lord, this is the fault of goldsmith. Now the king told, poor thing, she is absolutely right, thought the king, weighing the evidence. After thinking about the evidence proof, the king uh, thought that we have got the real culprit at last. Get the goldsmith whenever he is hiding at once. So now the king ordered to call the goldsmith in the court. The king bailiffs searched for the goldsmith who was hiding in a corner of his shop. When he heard the accusation against him, he had his own story to tell. So here, bailiffs means a law officer who makes sure that the decision of a uh, court is obeyed. So here, the bailiffs searched the goldsmith, and he brought to the goldsmith to the court of the kingdom. He said, my lord, I am a poor goldsmith. It's true, I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses because I could not finish making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's order. They had a wedding coming and they would not wait. You know how impatient rich men are. So here the goldsmith is telling to the king that this was not my fault, uh, because this is the fault of a rich merchant that had given me order to make some jewelry because they had a wedding ceremony, and you know very well that the rich men are very impatient, they cannot tolerate. Now the king said, who is this rich merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry? Now the king asked from the goldsmith that who is that merchant who kept you from finishing this poor woman's jewelry, made her walk up and down, which distracted this bricklayer, which made a mesh of his wall, who made a very weak wall, which has now fallen on an important man and killed him. Now you can just think that the king is telling the thief a very innocent man. Can you name him? The goldsmith named the merchant, and he was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. And this was the same merchant whose wall had fallen on the body of the thief, and the thief was killed. Now the justice had come full circle. Now the king told that the justice will be done. Thought the king back to the merchant. When he was rudely summoned back to the court, he arrived crying. It was not me, but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is dead. I am innocent. So here the rich merchant started making many excuses that this is not my fault. This is the fault of my father who ordered to make jewelry, and now he is dead. I am innocent. But the king consulted his minister and ruled decisively. Decisively means here finally. But the king consulted his minister, it means talked with his minister, and finally come to a decision. He said that it's true, your father is the true murderer. The king said that your father is a true murderer, he is dead. But somebody must be punished in his place. You have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. So here the king is telling that it is true that your father is the murderer and now he is no more, but somebody must be punished in the place of your father. And you, because you have inherited means got property from your fathers. So you have got the property from your father, and that criminal father of yours, and you got all the property, and so that you have to uh, follow his wrong things also. Whatever your father has done, now he is no more, so the punishment will be given to you because you have inherited everything from your father. I knew at once every when I first set your eyes. He further said that when I saw you for the first time, then I thought about it that you were at the root of this horrible crime. It means you were mm, at the root of this uh, crime. You must die. And he ordered a new stake to be made ready for the execution. As the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of criminals, it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. He appealed to the king's common sense. The king too worried about it. Now, here, a stake. A stake means a post with a sharp pointed end used to pierce through somebody. And impaling means to push a sharp pointed post through somebody. So here, now the king ordered for a new stake, and you know very well that new stake, it is a weapon that is pierced through the body of a person, and the person is dead. So as the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminals, when the servant sharpened the stake and he was ready to give the punishment, it occurred to the minister. At first, it means for the first time, the minister thought that the rich merchant was very thin, so this stake would not fit in his body. He appealed to the king's common sense, and he told to the king also about these things, and the king was also worried. What shall we do? He said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. So, after thinking a lot, an idea came in his mind, and that idea was to find out a fat man in his body the stake would fit. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the stake. And their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas and rice and wheat and ghee. Now, the servants of the king started searching the fat man in the kingdom of fools, and finally they found the disciple. The disciple had fattened himself for many months after eating bananas, rice, wheat, and ghee, and he became very fat. Now, what have I done wrong? I am innocent, I am a sannyasi, he cried, and that disciple started crying that I am innocent, I am sannyasi, I am saint. That may be true, but it's the royal decree. Decree means order that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake. So when the disciple was telling that what I have done wrong, I am innocent, I am a sannyasi, then the servant told that this is the order of the king that we should find a fat man enough to fit the stake in his body, and you are fit, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. He remembered his wise guru words. Now the disciple remembered his wise guru words. What was that guru's words? This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next. So now these words the disciple reminded in his mind that this is the city of fools. You don't know what they will do with you next time. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru in his heart. And when disciple was waiting for his death, he prayed to his guru in his heart. asking him to hear his cry whenever he was. And just he was praying in his heart that listen to me and save me. The Guru saw everything in a vision. Vision means he could see with the help of vision. It means the third eye. I can say he had magic power. He could see for and he could see the future as could see the present and the past, because the Guru has magical power. He could see the present, past and future. So what he did, he arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrap through love of food. So here a scrap means a difficult situation that one has got in. So here the disciple got in a very difficult situation. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Whisper means to speak in a very low voice. So as soon as the Guru arrived, he scolded disciple and told his something in a very low voice. Then he went to the king and addressed him. O wisest of kings, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? Of course, the Guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? When the Guru addresses the king that, O wisest king, who is greater, the Guru or the disciple? The Guru told to the king that who is greater, the Guru and the disciple? The king replied, of course, the Guru. Then no doubt about it. Why do you ask? Again, the king asked, why do you ask such thing? Then put me the stake first, put my disciple to that after me. Then the Guru told to the king that put me to the stake. It means give me capital punishment for the first time, and then put my disciple to death after me. So I have discussed some of the paragraphs. I hope you all will understand this story, and I will explain the next paragraphs in the next class. So thank you.